Wahihahiha. Hello again. We are back with the third video of today. I'm not going to keep you too long, but welcome to Echo. And we have escaped Brian's clutches and are just meandering to find a vehicle to drive us the fuck out of Echo. So let us continue on our journey, shall we? I can still feel the stitches in my leg, though I've pulled out the little bits of line a half hour ago. Despite living here a vast majority of my life, I even have trouble figuring out where the hell we were. As I walk, and the sting throbs. With every step, I close my eyes and realize how exhausted I really am. Burning off extreme adrenaline for a day will take the wind out of you. So will multiple blows to the head and torture, apparently. I keep imagining that when I open my eyes, I'll be back in my dorm. I'll sit up from bed, and Vincent will be tapping away at his laptop on the other side of the room. Tell him that I had a fucked up dream, and he'd tell me in that too cool for school tone, blog about it. The rhythmic tapping was at first really annoying, but now it's kinda like a white noise machine. It helps me fucking shit. It helps me sleep for some weird reason. Maybe because it makes it feel like I'm not so alone. Chase? I inhale sharply, nearly tripping over a clump of weeds. Jenna places a precautionary arm out in front of me before easing back when she sees I've got my balance again. You still with us? She looks me up and down as if looking for any signs that I'm turning into another Leo situation. Said Wolf is still with us, ambling along like he can't even feel the half his leg was stitched to mine. I look back at her, nodding. Yeah. Exhausted, but that's to be expected, I guess. Ordinarily, I'd love to have a quiet walk with you at night, though considering the circumstances. She pauses, looking over her shoulder. Well, it could be worse. You had a guardian angel. She noticeably stiffens as I bring up the topic of what just happened. I'm trying not to think about it. None of us had gone around to check out where Brian was dragged. In fact, we made a beeline straight in the opposite direction. Ordinarily, the lights of the town would guide us where to go, but everything's dark. The moon, the only real source of light, and even that's particularly obscured. The productive thing to do is just to think ahead right now. We'll come into town along the back roads to get to the motel and take your car. I give her an affirmative thumbs up. Micah, meanwhile, is clutching his knife tight. It reminds me of how he was with the wrench earlier, when he was worried about Leo attacking him. Now the two walk nearly side by side. Everyone but Leo is rattled, that's for sure. I can't tell if that's supposed to be Hysteria's fault or just a completely rational reaction to all the shit that's happened today. Micah's usual arrogant and gruff demeanor is replaced by a more timid posture, the bat rubbing his neck, like he can't believe he's alive. Truly, I try to think of something to say as he turns to face me. Like, I'm sorry about Keith. Yeah. He responds simply, sucking on his lower lip for a moment, between one of his fangs, before speaking again. Still not sure exactly what happened, but now I have a more definitive idea. He looks ahead again, shifting the topic. I had a dream about you, you know. Oh? After we spoke, I only got a bit of sleep, but what I did dream stuck out to me. You were holding me underwater, drowning me. A cold chill creeps up along my spine. Jenna looks over, raising her eyebrow curiously at the bat. Leah stares straight ahead, unfazed. That's weird. Why are you telling me this? Micah waves his hand, dismissing my question as he continues. You were holding me underwater, and it was fucking terrifying because I couldn't breathe. But your hands around my throat felt exactly like that noose did. The way they bristled and cut into my neck. He points to the matted fur on his throat, the pinkish raw rubbed flesh visible even in the dark. But talking emotionally and shit, I started feeling thankful. Thankful that I was killing you? That's rather macabre. The bat nods, seemingly well aware of how strange this sounds. Yet he doesn't relent, noting how exceptionally strange everything else had been lately. I'd be willing to take anything at face value at this point. Like you were freeing me. No fucked up suicidal shit. When I was up in that noose though, I didn't want to die. That part didn't translate. Honestly surprised I didn't piss and shit myself. Did you guys? Jenna stares blankly at him. No. I did not, no. Leo, of course, is silent. To think I almost left town a couple days ago. But I never gotten caught up in this mess. Why did you really disappear that first time, back in 2008? Micah fiddles with something in his pocket, taking it out and peering it over. I can't quite make out what it is. Something plastic and thick. Lot of reasons. My folk turned on me after finding out some shit one night. Come home to find my room torn up, all my belongings outside. My mom, the cunt, wouldn't stop bawling, screeching like a dying chicken at me. My dad, meanwhile, had his old police baton, kept coming at me whenever I tried to come inside. Kept screaming to let me in and apologizing for every little screw-up that I could think of. None of it worked. Tried to sleep on the porch, but Dad came out and started kicking me in the back till I left. Jenna grimaces. That's awful. Leo looks back over his shoulder, slowing his pace some to match ours. I can tell he's at least half listening now, no longer as spaced out. Keith was gone, and I didn't have anywhere else to go. Wasn't too popular, as I recalled, you shit motherfucker. Wasn't too popular, as I recall even Heather, Clint, and Jeremy. They had their own problems. Should have told me. The words catch Micah by surprise, the wolf staring at him from across the shrubbery. Hey, I know we just survived the near-death experience together. No need to be getting all retroactively sappy. Excuse me. We all turn a small bend around a sandy embankment, some old car parts scattered in the underbrush. The moon is finally visible from behind Echo Canyon, and I can make out where Micah's carrying Brian's cell phone. Guess he's gonna try to take that in as evidence. As he moves to push it back into his pocket, it slips and clatters against a rock beneath him. Ah, fuck. I'll get it. Leo bends down, taking hold of the phone. The screen is shattered and a few silver slivers of glass fall to the ground. Damn it. The bat extends out his hand. Thanks. Leo doesn't budge, still staring at the shattered device. Then from beyond the desert, scrubs and scattered car parts, mechanical roar. Lights flash before us, and Leo holds up his paw to shield himself from the light. It takes me just a moment to realize they're headlights, and the roar is the start of an old engine. It's a van, sitting right in front of us. It's all too familiar. What the? Jenna reels back, eyes wide. That wasn't there a moment ago. She mutters, craning her neck some to peer through the red-tinted windows to see who's behind the wheel. After a moment of inspection, it's clear that there's no one inside. Jenna. What? Jenna, this is the van from the dream. The one I told you about. Oh, come on. Jenna doesn't sound incredulous to my claim, just exhausted. She crosses her arms tightly over her chest, not letting her eyes leave the sight of the idling vehicle. Okay then, what's it doing here? I don't have an answer for her, and therefore remain silent, stepping away from the front of the vehicle, in case it somehow takes off. Micah, meanwhile, looks confused, peers around, his yellow eyes and bright and shimmering in the focus of the headlights. What the fuck? I know where we are. But we were heading into town toward the motel. How the fuck are we here? We didn't cross the highway, did we? I look to our east, and sure enough, there it is, withered asphalt of Route 65. I would have noticed it if we crossed pavement. Someone would have. It's the complete opposite direction that we should be heading. Jenna gasps, seemingly realizing this a little after the rest of us. We've been here before. Leo speaks up, clutching the side of his head with a wince. You recognize it too, right? Leo still sounds half asleep, turning to face us. Though it appears he's only speaking to Micah and I. The bat blinks. Oh, fuck. You dreamed about this too, Chase? I swallow and nod, clutching my clammy paws against my shirt. I think so. The dream from earlier had already begun to fade from my memory, as most dreams do. But the way I felt watching it is still very clear. And this whole scene is starting to give me some serious deja vu or something like that. there was an albino guy. He had bright red eyes and got ran over. The van's motor continues to idle, humming as it waits. Mine was a little different. Micah doesn't elaborate. No, we've been here before. In real life. Implying that this is not real life? Micah glances over at the wolf, and the two exchange a look for a moment. Jenna steps forward and tugs at the driver's side door. It opens with a quiet creak, some errant cobwebs fraying apart as the door is pulled fully open. She squints at something by the wheel, then reaches to tap it. Keys are in the ignition, and there's a big red glare on the dash. Maybe a check engine light? She frowns to herself. It looks like this thing hasn't been used in a while. Sands who never turn this on, but I'm no mechanic. If only there were one among us now. Leo? She pokes her head out, resting an inquisitive brow at the wolf. You're welcome to take a look if you're feeling up to it. She eyes Leo up, examining his physical condition. Her expression is a mixture of skepticism and concern. Leo begins to limp toward the van, and Micah quickly steps up beside him to keep him from tipping over. He grunts appreciatively in response, speaking up. It's probably not a check engine light. What makes you say that? Those didn't really exist back when this was made, before the mid-90s. You guys think we can drive this out of Echo? I'm a little more concerned with wondering who turned this on in the first place, and how we even got here, but that's an optimistic thought, Chase. So maybe this is a gift horse that we're looking square in the mouth right now. Doubt it. Micah rasps, helping Leo prop himself against the driver's side door as Jenna steps aside. The light looks like it isn't coming from the dash. Leo clumsily grasps the steering wheel, peering closer, like it's being reflected off the odometer, but I don't see a direct source. How Leo can see clearly at all after repeated blows to the head may be the real question here. That's fucking weird. A shuffling noise comes from the back of the van and everyone freezes. There's a rickety fabric portion hiding everything past the front seat from view. Gingerly, Leo pulls it aside and squints into a red light illuminating his face. Is anyone back there? Leo doesn't immediately respond, and I can't see him well from where I'm standing. I limp my way up beside Jenna. Leo? She inquires again, more urgent. No, not right now. There's something back there, though. Well, that's obvious enough. I'm too big to squeeze between the seats. Gonna go around. Everyone takes a step back out of the now seemingly coherent wolf's way as he exits the van. Fucking deja vu something fierce right now. You too? Jenna gives us both a quizzical look as Leo braces the handle of the rusted van door and gives it a yank. At first it doesn't budge, but after another hard tug, the door flies open. One door partially unhinged as it dangles to the side. There's something standing in the middle of the van, on 3 spindly legs. The red light projects from something on the top, and it begins to flash on and off. Camera on a tripod? First I think it's mine, but upon closer inspection, it looks like an older model. No fucking way. Micah quickly backs away, nearly tripping over a prickly pear cactus in his haste. Nope, this isn't real. Everyone pack it up. We're being filmed? What is this, some elaborate prank show? This is 100% not funny. Leo says nothing, climbing up into the back of the van and turning the display monitor on the camera around. On it, little red dot on the corner flashes on and off in time with the illumination of the rest of the cab. On the display screen itself shows us standing there at the back of the van, though the image is fuzzy, distorted. Wonder how long it's been here. That's my camera. Micah shouts in surprise, looking briefly to the rest of us before lowering his voice. Well, high school's camera, but they were shit at keeping inventory. Ditched it after my folks kicked me out. Okay, but what's it doing here? Why is it recording? Judging by the look on everyone's faces, I don't think any of us have an answer to that. Leo brings a heavy paw up to his eyes, rubbing them some before peering at Micah, then scream, then back again. Micah cants his head some at the wolf, letting out a slow exhale. Either this is one fucked up joke, wolf boy, or I'm beginning to think this is the Hum's doing it. The Hum. You mentioned that before, by the motel. Wow, haven't heard that word in a while. What's the Hum? It's, hard to describe. Bad dreams, like we talked about before. Feels kind of Vision Quest. Kind of like Vision Quest like shit. Real spiritual stuff that Keith talked about a lot. Wasn't good vibes though. Bad energy only. Thing is, it only really happened when you're sleeping, and I'm wide-ass awake. He extends his arm out to the side for a moment before gripping the van's door, thumbing at the chipped paint. I haven't thought about that in a while. Jeremy and Adam talked about it when I was younger, after I mentioned seeing the thing we just saw half an hour ago. She wants to say, but she still visibly can't quite accept that. Not yet. You know what? I don't, but as I was saying, you can kind of tell when it's happening because it's more than just a nightmare. Your ears start buzzing. Like one of them orchestra bands tuning up violins in your skull, you know? Creeping sensation that I know exactly what he's talking about builds in my gut. You hear it too? What, like right now? Leo stares for a moment before nodding. One of the bat's large ears flicks and he turns his head from side to side. I don't think so. He pauses. Maybe. Might be the engine. He shifts his attention back to the vehicle, yanking the van's door some. Spooky-ass ghost van engine. The metal frame of the van seems to rattle in response, though that might just be my imagination. Sometimes I'd go out into the hills and just camp out away from home, because the Hum wasn't as bad there. Heather did it a bunch with me too, though she had other reasons. Jenna nods, exhaling slowly before crossing her arms over her chest. So I suppose then you have a theory about all this? I'm based in what? Masada spiritualism? Honestly, I thought it was like Radiation poisoning or something. But you got the hum in a few other places around town, too. I've slept all over. Rail yard, the lake, the van. They're all real hummy places. You slept in this van before? Despite everything that's happened, the idea that anyone would want to take a nap in this creepy thing is dubious at best for Jenna. Well, Mike trails off. For one unusually coarse and brazen, he's seeming awkwardness right now feels out of place for him. We both have, briefly. Leo places the flat of his palm on the bed of the cab. Flattened cardboard boxes and ratty bits of fabric that must have once been blankets or towels cover the surface. The large canine's brow furrows some, and finally he looks back up at all of us. It may just be me, but he doesn't seem as sluggish anymore. Jenna lets out an exhausted, amused noise, letting her arms flop to her sides. Truly, I'm not sure I see the appeal. Leo and Micah look at each other. There's a silence. Wait. Hold on, you're not saying... That was so stupid. We were both stupid. Micah squeezes the bridge of his nose, closing his eyes. Such a skeevy little bitch back then. I don't know why I pushed. No, I didn't mean for that, Micah. I mean for what happened after. You had it rough, and I didn't care. Or if I did, I didn't wanna. Because if what happened at the party, I feel like an outsider looking at some intimate conversation I don't understand. Which is a feeling I can't say I've felt when around Leo. What party? What are you guys talking about? Chase, 2008. The Dia de los Muertos party. At the Parsons warehouse. The one where you told me you were gay. The night we got together. At Blink. My parents had caught me watching gay porn that morning on the computer, and I was afraid to come home to them. So I went to some party at Parsons. The night itself was kind of a blur. I remember getting in a very brief fight with a guy who dumped beer on TJ, and then waking up with Leo over me, eyes full of concern. Somehow I ended up confiding everything to him about me being into guys. He apparently had a hunch about it, and the next thing I knew, he was ushering me out of the old warehouse to walk home with him. We kissed in the rail yard by his house. That was about the start of our relationship proper. Still, something always seemed a bit off about that party. The way Leo was acting. I think I remember some dude trying to come up, talk to him, and Leo telling him off before insisting that I not ask about it. He seemed really serious at the time. Didn't want to ruin a good thing or something like that. Didn't actually get a good look at the guy he talked to, but he was carrying a camera. The wolf taps the side of the tripod with his fingertips. Leo, you are reprehensible. Jenna's voice is cold and curt. Jenna, what? Shut up. Leo, I keep trying to say Leo. God damn it. Fuck, my brain is fizzled. Jenna looks taken aback, but only for a split second before shaking her head in disbelief. Leo winces, clutching his wounded head. His reddish eyes flick up to meet mine. I shouldn't have agreed to it. I was just Jenna quickly interjects, stepping in front of me. No, Leo, this whole week has just proven to me, time and time again, that you were just... She stares, letting out a hot puff of air between her lips before spreading her arms wide. Just perfect for Echo. You truly, truly belong here, you know that? God, how old were you then? How old was Micah? Did you even care? Fucking hell. Are you about done? The bat pivots on his heels away from the van to face Jenna, his eyebrows narrowed beneath his bangs. Look, you don't know me. I ain't some fucking victim. Shit was my choice. What? What was your choice? Chase, you are an absolute idiot sometimes. Jenna sounds very disgusted. I frown at her, wondering what the fuck I did wrong. And I abandoned you. Jenna visibly seethes. None of this, she points to the rusted van and some red light flashing on and off, makes any sense. But all of your actions completely do. You were just all so perfect for this town, thinking any of that was okay. She throws up her hands, legs shaking with frustration. Is she including me in this? This isn't... I'm gone. Done. Jenna! She turns to leave, though the crackling of the front of the van brings her to a halt.
Hey.
From the console, the distorted voice I've become all too familiar with rings forth again. It's coming from the old radio, the audio crackling through dusty speakers. Jenna recognizes it instantly, begins stepping back away from the van again. We should go, now. The voice is shaky. Her voice is shaky. The air itself seems fuzzy, electric. Like I'm breathing in 100 tiny strands of vibrating twine. That sounded like Chase. Leo was the only one to outright respond back, and Micah looks at him with a bewildered expression. Don't talk to the hum. It's Chase. Chase is right there, dipshit. He gestures to me, still standing gobstopped at the back of the van. Leo slowly looks back at me, squinting at my chin, then my eyes.
It's me. Let's go home.
He sees that it isn't my mouth moving, and his eyes widen a little more. A small line of blood runs down from a spot just behind his ear, down to his jaw.
I promise I won't bring it up, Leo. Bring it up again. Let's go home. Who gives a fuck what the others think? You know I'm right.
I remember saying those exact words after Flynn blasted us for skipping Jenna's birthday party in 10th grade. I had convinced Leo to hang out with me instead. I was addicted to private time with him.
I promise I won't bring it up again.
We're all silent, staring at the dark cab where the noise is coming from. Except for Leo, who's looking directly at me.
Leave.
Why? He asks me. I'm not sure what to say. It's not me speaking, but those words are my words. Everything feels hazy. Hazy and wet. Micah leans his head into the van, trying to get the wolf's attention. Leo, Gita's always said not to talk to the hum. That's what this shit is, no doubt. The hysteria has a voice? Apparently, and it's your fucking voice, Chase. No wonder everyone's so damn riled up about you coming back. But why me? Do I look like some kind of Macedo wise man? Micah grunts, fidgeting from foot to foot. Despite his demeanor, he's definitely visibly unnerved by all this. I'm parroting shit I heard from a guy who's probably dead. For a while, when I was younger, I thought I heard Keith's voice too, telling me the shit I wanted to hear, but the shit that wasn't good for me. So I got the fuck out of town. Jenna throws her hands up, squeezing the pendant on her necklace. I can't handle this. I'm gonna do what the spooky van wants and leave. It's not the van. A voice in my head speaks, softly, like a whisper from behind my right ear. It's a masculine voice, but not my own, an older man, with a kind of old Western accent. Familiar. Glancing back, there's no one there. Without thinking, I speak. It's not the van. And how do you know that? I don't know. I admit. There's a long silence. Leo's tail curls inward. He's biting the inside of his cheek, thinking hard. Finally, he looks me in the eye again. It's me. That thing, it follows me. Thought it was you, but it's not you. You're different now. He gesticulates in my direction.
Leo, I love...
Please, be quiet for a second, eh? Leo interrupts the otherworldly voice like he's shutting a small child. Now he's looking at me, but his gaze seems to shift towards the horizon. 1,000-yard stare. Chase, you all left, and I was never the same. So I tried to cope. I remember all the stuff you used to say to me, even the naggy shit, all your banter. Hell, I imagined every day at work you were there with me, talking to me while I'm fixing cars. I pretended I was teaching you about the basics, changing oil or replacing headlights. You know, it's not riveting stuff, but in my head, you loved me and I loved you. There's just some distance, that's all. Then I drive home listening to whatever's on the radio, and I imagine you reacting to it. Grunting every time the word truck is mentioned, in every country song. Or making some snide-ass remark about the political ads. A little smile curves up along his jaws, though it diminishes as quickly as it forms. A little drop of blood running down his fur. The fur of his cheek finally splatters onto the cab floor beneath him. When I get home, I go online, and there's this pulling in my chest, like a dread, you know? I click on the school media shit, and it's you, the real you. And you're different. Wearing new shirts, hanging out with new friends, drinking fancy college beers. Terrible facial hair. Touch my goatee briefly, like it gives me a sidelong glance. And it feels like I'm losing you all over again. So I just avoid it. I pretend that we still drink together on the patio. The sun goes down on Saturdays. Pretend that you're there beside me at home watching me play my games. And I pretend at night that pillow I've got in my arms wrapped around is you, making your little noises when you do when I ruffle your head fur or squeeze you. Leo plants his rump against the side of the cabin, sliding down to a sitting position as he clutches his head. And then one day you started talking back. First it was quiet, in the back of my head, not even noticeable. And then over time it just got more real, yeah? Soon I was looking at mirrors and seeing you standing there, a reflection window, a pool of water. Sometimes I swear you could even touch me. But it wasn't you, not the real you. You see why it was the you I wanted you to be. This perfect subservient thing. But it didn't make me happier. It was just a dream. A dream that kept blurring between like what was real and what wasn't. And so I wanted to see you, the real you. To, I don't know, get a grip, fix me. But it just made things worse. And you didn't give a shit. When I wouldn't smile and you wouldn't look away. And you would look away. And you take every chance to hang out with others instead of me. His eyes flick briefly towards Jenna before trailing back down to the space between his feet, the wolf breathing slowly. The past few days, it's been unlike anything I've ever felt before. I'd forget what was real and what wasn't, and it'd drive me up the walls, you know. So sorry, he rubs his face. Fuck. The wolf goes still, the gravity of his words rendering everyone silent. Even the radio. Jenna, who seemed to be constantly wavering between lingering and noping the fuck out of here, glances back over her shoulder. The grievances with Leo and Micah apparently lessened in the face of continued paranormal onslaught. So this thing that we're seeing, as manifested by the hum, is some sort of tulpa? A tulpa? Ow. Oh shit, my camera. My camera's gone. The name sounds familiar, like something Carl mentioned to me in passing. In layman, a more advanced version of an imaginary friend. The Fennec frowns deeply, thinking. The process of induction, visualization, thought form, and other mental forcing can stimulate those sorts of psychosomatic happenings. Generally, you see it with people who say they talk to Jesus or other religious icons that encourage prayer and meditation upon idols. You're saying I'm like some kind of worshipped idol? Jenna sighs as Leo slinks down a little. Sure. Still doesn't explain why we can see and hear this thing. Honestly, it's more likely that we're enduring some sort of collective traumatic hallucination. But right now, I'm just spitballing here to rationalize this. She swirls her paw in the direction of the van. A person that others can see and interact with, born from a dream. We watch the radio, though it doesn't chime in. I think it's gone. Another silence. Finally, Micah speaks up. Jesus fuck, Leo. Can't you just print out Chase's yearbook picture and tape it to a fleshlight like a normal fucking person? Leo looks on Micah, his tired, wounded face slipping into a grin before he starts to chuckle. It's the first bit of proper laughter I've heard from him in days, even if it's bittersweet. Micah, I'm sorry. Dude, for real, it's fine. Micah watches Leo with some weariness in his golden eyes. crossing his tattooed arms over his chest. Nah. What you mean, nah? Nah. We may have just been messing around. But you had shit rough at home. Everyone knew it. And I just didn't want to think about it, yeah? So you just disappeared one day, and that was that. But you were small. Didn't have nobody to turn to. Should have been there for you. Micah scuffs his foot against the dirt, looking a mixture of frazzled and embarrassed at the conversation taking place. We didn't have that kind of relationship. Not like you and Chase had. Relationship? But the bat looks at me, quickly clarifying. Wasn't really a relationship or nothing. That was a bad word to use. Just two kids who knew they really liked dudes and experiment. There's a twisting sensation in my chest as I look to both of them. Then, imagining them in the van. Right before what was essentially the most romantic night of my life. The day I felt most loved and special out of any. With a $700 camera and a 3-year age difference. Micah ignores Jenna. Judging by your expression, I'm guessing he never told you. I don't blame him. He scoots himself to the back of the van, hanging his legs off the end as he looks to me. And I should have. Just didn't want to lose you, you know? He's looking at me now. And yet he lost you anyway. Oh. That's all I can manage to say. Leo turns his attention back to Micah. I'm no replacement for Keith. But I should have helped you get back on your feet. Introduced you to the group. Thus you and Chase could have gotten along after a while. Didn't you want to be a journalism major? Jenna, despite the apologetic tone of Leo, definitely doesn't seem eager to stick around for this conversation. Man, that was a lifetime ago. Could have taken your feral ass in. Shitty titties. Showing you how society works. Well, you probably don't even know how to do your taxes. Micah clicks his tongue against the roof of his mouth. Kinda like how Leo does. Fuck taxes. Government ain't shit. Ain't getting shit. Anyway, clears his still raspy throat, wincing as he swallows. If you want to get ahead in life, you can't really rely on others. Gotta do it yourself. Gotta get it for yourself. He passes a glance toward Jenna for a moment. We did. I chime in, still trying to wrap my head around the revelation from earlier. Michael looks like he's about to snap back with something. Biting, but just waves it off with a flop of his hand. Anyway, if you wanted forgiveness, you got it. Let's just put some distance between us and this hotspot, okay? Please. Micah grunts once, beginning to walk off behind Jenna. After a moment, he slows some, looking back at Leo. Glad you, finally woke up, though. Yeah. Jenna rubs her face into the pads of her paws. She's shaken, nervous, frazzled. Micah and Leo, too. Though I just feel numb. All this insane shit. Yeah, that. Woo! Just had a jitter go up my spine. All this insane shit is happening around me, and it's like a dream. Something not even real. There's a layer of separation between what I perceive and what's really occurring in front of me. Watching a playback of memories projected right onto my own eyes. It's not the first time I felt like this. Even outside this supposed hysteria, it's never been so strong. But as I glance behind me, the van's still there, real as ever. Micah, the newly sobered Leo, walk ahead. Maybe it's like a minefield, you know? Projecting thoughts and shit for everyone to see. Yeah. Just thinking real hard about Carl. He can take his spooky fucking dope doppel home with us instead. Save us some trouble. After a while, I can't make out what they're saying. They're talking with a more serious tone, their voices lowered. I'm not sure if I even want to know what they're discussing now. Blech. As we approach the edge of an old highway, my eyes settle upon a small mound of dirt with carefully placed stones on the corner. Oh, it's the fucking thing! I'd walked down the stretch of Route 65 about a dozen times growing up. I've seen this before, but was never curious enough to investigate. Something about it that's drawing my attention. And then I realize why. The dream from last night. The grave. That's the spot. I stop. The others still walking ahead. They're following the road now. Back to town. Or at least until we get to the railroad crossing. Then we can follow that. Ooh, excuse me. I look back to the mound of dirt. I'm compelled to approach it. Without really thinking, I'm on my knees. Oh, fuck. Big bitch. What? What? Just do it. Okay, so this is me talking. Next thing I know, I'm scooping the tips of my paws through the packed soil, digging up dirt and tossing clumps aside. I don't know why I'm doing this. I close my eyes, trying to snap out of it. Doesn't help, but soon there's a musty smell in the air, like the inside of an old attic. I've managed to dig about a foot down into the earth. So far, the smell only grows stronger. At about 2 feet down, something solid touches my fingertips. I keep going, dusting off the dirt around whatever it is. The surface is curved and cracked in places like pottery. Even before I get all the dirt off, I have a hunch of what it is. 2 empty sockets stare up at me, and I stare back. Hello. A voice plays in my mind. Much more profound than I've ever heard it before. After all this time, to end up here. The voice almost sounds like it sighs, then goes silent. Are you the guy in the grave? I ask the voice, which rings more clearly with every passing word. The way he sounds, it's like he's right here despite the unnatural cadence. The voice in my head. I whisper to the skull, compelled to touch it. Any skin or fur has long since rotted away, and the head itself is a yellow ivory color. Its clothes from what are visible are in tatters, but the remnants of a button-up shirt and suspenders can still be seen. The voice doesn't respond, so I ask another question. Who are you? Tumbleweed rolls by along the road in front of me. The others getting further and further away. Instead of responding, I feel myself begin to dig further down, scooping out a few more mounds of dirt until something leather and small can be seen. A hardy little wallet with a snake emblem pressed into the center. Flipping it open, several business cards and dollar bills are practically dissolved into the exposed air, though there's a plastic ID card in the back. It's a driver's license, clearly decades old, with the faded ink from several stamps covering most of it. What text can be seen is the old-timey typewriter font. Wipe my thumb across the surface, wiping away the dirt and grime. Samuel Ayers. Date of birth? 1890. There's a little picture of an elderly pale feline with stark reddish-looking eyes that remind me slightly of Leo's. He looks haggard and sad. Ancient, really. A relic of another time. The man from my dreams. I should be terrified, but again, I still feel disconnected. A passive viewer who can only sometimes speak without any control.
Now you know how I feel.
I managed to swallow, peering into the sockets like they were looking back at me. I've never met a ghost before. I remark quietly.
Not a ghost.
Then what are you? Another drawn-out silence, though this time I waited out.
Maybe something like that thing on the radio in the van. Just older and changed now. It's gone, but I'm still here, clinging to you like a lifeboat on open water. We've been together for some time. Didn't see one another for a while, but you came back. They always come back.
Together? I don't trail off trying to wrap my head around what he means, but what's really happening. I lean back some, feeling less resistant on my movements. I feel weird. Like I'm not really here.
You felt this way for a while now. It always happens like this over time. Here, it's just a little stronger. With me.
My gaze is pulled down to the license in my grip. Again, I read the name, Samuel Ayers. He goes quiet for a moment, then speaks up again.
With him.
His voice falters, a strange conveyance of emotion in his otherwise stulted, monotone presentation. I speak up again. There's something wrong with me. It's like I'm not doing things on my own anymore.
You're not. I'm with you. You are indecisive by nature.
What? How?
I choose.
That doesn't make any sense. Why are we connected? How do I make this go away? He says nothing, but I can hear him mumbling. Hear him rumbling. Stirring. These 15 seconds pass before said stirring turns into words.
You come back to find the truth. That's what you told yourself. Yet you knew it all. Yet you've known it all along. You just bury it over and over again. Each falling, uncomfortable. Each failing, uncomfortable moment of horror. You can't face anything. You're just like him. The man with the hat that's always too tight. Brains splattered on fresh grass, pine needles, clamoring and a whimpering child.
Ran out of breath. I guess so did the music. I don't...
You are weak. You are pathetic.
There's a pause, and again his tone shifts. A fucking course. Oh shit, my legs. I'm back. I'm eating a sausage. Turns out tonight's breakfast. I ain't got much up a plate. I just snagged the sausage off the tray. Ain't done being cooked yet. Oh, that sausage is good. Woo. Hell yeah. Woo! I got another dinner. Good lord. That was just how good that sausage was. There's a pause, and again his tone shifts. A deviation from his uniform speaking pattern. His voice sounds softer, distant, like an echo of something said far away.
Be safe, kid.
Before I have time to comprehend anything, I hear footsteps upon the asphalt in front of him. Chase, what are you still doing back here? What are you looking at? Jenna steps closer, peering into the little hole I dug. She thins her lips. Oh. What's going on? Leah's booming voice calls out from down the highway, the wolf looking back at us. Jenna just stares at the desiccated remains for a moment before calling back. Chase dug up an old corpse. God damn it, Chase. Oh, that's funny. Jenna sighs, resting her paws on her knees and letting her head hang down. What he said. She looks up for a moment before spying the card in my hands. Is that an ID? Yeah, Samuel Ayers is the name. I think he's the one who got hit by the van. Oh. She looks off to the side. Great. Huh? What? Chase. She responds exasperatedly. Don't you care? Someone died here. I think he matters somehow. to me. Chase, we have almost died tonight. And we're still in a very unpredictable and dangerous situation. She crouches down beside me. With mental states that can be charitably described as less than optimal. Carl's in serious trouble, and we know where he is. This right here, she taps the ID card in my paw. We can make a little note of it in our heads and bring it to the proper authorities later. She barely glances at the license, standing back up and offering me a hand. Come on, Chase. With a knot in my stomach, I take her hand and use her weight to rise up without putting too much strain on my injured leg. But I think this guy's in my head. Please don't say that. She responds curtly as Micah arrives behind her, Leo hobbling up at his side. You okay, Otter? Look at him for a long moment and answer honestly. I don't know. Sam. Yeah, let's just get going, okay? Chase, you can keep leaning on me if it hurts to walk. I give her a grateful nod as I rest an arm on her shoulder. Thanks. As we head off, Micah lingers a little bit behind us, staring into the hollow grave. He steps off the road and pushes the dirt I'd removed back into the hole. A few hasty wipes of his foot. Before anyone can ask what he's doing, he catches back up with us, staring straight ahead. We've been walking for what feels like ages. The moon still hangs high in the sky, and the taste of water in the air. Maybe it'll rain. After we got switched around and ended up on the wrong side of the highway, we realized we were much closer to Heather's than the motel. So, to Tetanus Alley we go. I kept playing that conversation earlier in my head, the voice seemingly activated when I found the skeleton. I've heard it 1,000 times before, but I always just assumed it was me, my subconscious. A particularly bitter side of myself that would chime in every now and then to add insult to injury. Really lives in the boonies, doesn't she? Leo winces some as he walks, no longer using Micah as a walking crutch. Yeah, I don't get out here often. Be wary, though. Apparently, she's got a gun, so no threatening movements or nothing if we see her. Clint's got one, too. Should have swung around my place so I could grab my piece. Leo, for God's sake, we are not getting into a firefight tonight. Bet mine's better than the two junkies with pop guns. Yes, the heavily concussed, hobbling Wolf definitely has the advantage over Clint and Heather. Both of which spend a considerable portion of their free time shooting random objects in a trailer park. I know because I grew up listening to it. She ain't lying, at least for Clint. I ain't no fan of you. He ain't no fan of you. Should probably let me do the talking. Didn't you betray them? I think I might be the better person for this. The neutral party, so to speak. Yeah, but I know 'em. I can sort this shit out quick like. I trust I don't know. Shit. Well.
Okay, so I looked on the Itch.io page, and there also seemed to be some confusion from other people who were confused about the bad ending. And I think within reason, because like all the other times there's a bad ending, there's a choice at the end that seems to affect it. On this one, commenter
Oh shit. Well, I think I just locked my. Well, good God, that was so long ago. Hang on. Jesus, because I don't want the bad ending yet.